Hey family, Sabrina Celeste here. So in this video, I want to share with you what I feel is the number one way to have an out-of-body experience. Every 2 out of 3 people have had an involuntary out-of-body experience. And what that means is they didn't plan it, they didn't try to have it, and they found themselves floating up over their body or walking around their house, or they had the ability to fly out of their bedroom window in the middle of the night or the afternoon. It really doesn't matter. For me, I have been having astral projection experiences since I was a child. Those were also just involuntary. I did not try to actually have one. I just remember the first time I ever had one, I was taking a nap. It was in the afternoon, and I opened my eyes and I was about 2 inches from the ceiling, and it scared me, and I snapped back into my body. And then it happened again. I started floating up towards the ceiling, and this time I decided to see if I could stand up, which I did. I stood up and then I walked around my house, and I found it to be extremely fascinating. Back then, I did not know I was having an out-of-body experience. Fast forward. I've had them periodically off and on throughout my life, but it wasn't until a couple years ago that I actually tried to focus on having one. And for some reason, it became extremely difficult to have an out-of-body experience when I tried to have one. So what I did, I studied the Robert Monroe technique. To simplify everything and break it down, I read all of his books. Robert Monroe was a pioneer in the study of out-of-body experiences and altered states and consciousness. He founded the Monroe Institute, an organization dedicated to the exploration of altered states of consciousness. The Institute developed the hemi-sync technology, a method that uses the binaural beats to help synchronize the brain's hemispheres and to facilitate meditative out-of-body experiences, otherwise known as altered states of mind. So once I was out of my body, a couple things happened. Once I went to California, and on my way to California, I actually spoke to people, I seen people. I was flying around Van Nuys, where I used to live, and I was wondering where everyone was at, and then I remembered, oh, I'm out of body, and I don't know where I was trying to get. Anyway, several times I ran into my ex-husband, who passed away, unfortunately, a couple years ago, and that was interesting. I've actually had several astral projections where I would see him and speak to him and, essentially make peace with him. Or he made amends to me while I was out of my body. That's very interesting. So that is the number one method for me that I have used that is an absolute surefire way to leave your body. I've heard teachers talk about you have to have a clean body and mind and spirit, and although those things are true, I don't drink anymore, I don't smoke, I haven't done any mind-altering substances for at least 30 years, and I think that really does help a lot. You also have to stay focused and you protect yourself. I always cover myself with white and pink light before I attempt to do anything. I call in my angels, and then just that. It's quite simple. You don't have to do all those things. These are things that I do because I've seen a lot of things. But it's just the wake up and go back to sleep method. And you wake up, you stay fully awake for about 15-20 minutes. You lay back down. You tell yourself, my mind is awake, my body's asleep. Now, sometimes I would leave my body and things were fuzzy. I couldn't quite focus on things, and I didn't quite understand why I couldn't. Now, one of the books that I read by Robert Monroe said that when that happens, tell yourself, clarity now. the one technique that I used that would help me astral project every single time was this. It's called the wake up, go back to sleep method. Some of you have probably already heard about it, but if not, this is how it works. You go to sleep, you just go to bed at night, regular. Set your alarm for about 4 o'clock in the morning. If I generally go to sleep around 9:30, I would set my alarm to 4 a.m. I would get up, I would wake myself up, fully wake myself up. I would have to leave the bedroom because my husband snores. And I would go into the living room. Sometimes I would have a couple sips of coffee that I would put in the fridge and just, try to give myself about 15-20 minutes time to fully wake up, right? So once I was wide awake, I went to the living room. I would lay down on the couch. I would open one of the windows. I don't know why I did that. You don't really need to open up a window. If you're out of body, you can go right through the walls. I would open up a window and I would lay back down, and then I would mentally tell myself, my mind is awake, my body's asleep. My mind is awake, my body's asleep. My mind is awake, my body's asleep. So essentially what you're trying to do is that. You're trying to stay awake mentally while your body goes to sleep. What would happen for me is, I know some people have experienced like this high whooshing sound or vibration, but I felt none of that. I would literally just pop right out of my body, and then I would go right out the window. Last summer, I got to travel around. I have read about and even heard about people who have astral projected and then have gone out into space, I guess, greeted extraterrestrials, and have been, I don't know, different planets. And I'm sure that is very possible. Absolutely. I follow a gentleman, and he has been astral projecting since he was a child, and he has been to many, many different universes and has seen many, many things in his travels. I think it's the astral plane and beyond. I think that's the name of the YouTube video, but it's very interesting. It's really hard to make videos when your husband is always calling. I guess that's a quality problem, right? Anyway, if you have any other questions about astral projection, there are a lot of teachers out there that teach astral projection and are very serious about it and are very good. These are things that I have seriously practiced and studied for months and months and months before I tried, other than the astral projections that would just occur, automatically. These are actually astral projections that I've focused trying to have and actually had. So yeah, the wake up, go back to sleep method. Excuse me. The wake up and go back to sleep method. That is what I find to be the best and easiest way to have an astral projection. I hope that is helpful. Have a great night. Please subscribe. Mwah, mwah. Bye.